Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist David Kramer with the National Weather Service, providing another update for our West Coast storm systems that have continued to move through the West Coast, providing multiple impacts with coastal flooding and with high winds. I want to start off by saying that we have no further impacts to expect from ex-Typhoon Halong. That system has moved off and dissipated, and no further concerns from Halong. Now, we do have a couple other storms coming up that we do want to highlight. And we also want to emphasize that minimal impacts to the West Coast are expected from these storms at this time. There is a deep low that's going to track along the Aleutians today, continue through tomorrow, and get into the Gulf of Alaska on Thursday. It's going to bring a front to the Kuskokwim Delta coast Tuesday night and through Wednesday. We do expect some light to moderate rainfall with this, and we also expect some stronger winds out of the east. We could see gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour that are going to develop after midnight tonight, Tuesday night, and persist through Wednesday afternoon. And these winds are trending more easterly, and that is good news for the West Coast in terms of coastal flooding. Easterly winds have less likelihood to bring high water levels to any of the areas on the West Coast. Looking a little bit deeper into the coastal water levels with this system coming in tonight through tomorrow on Wednesday. Again, little to no coastal flooding is expected with this storm from any of our areas along the West Coast, from the Kuskokwim Delta area up through the northwest coastline. We do have longshore winds that could cause some water levels to rise 1 to 2.5 feet above the normal highest tide line in coastal communities. Especially with Wednesday's high tide. We do not expect that to be any higher than what we saw with this morning, Tuesday morning's high tide rise as well. The main areas of concern are going to be Kwigillingok and Kungiganack. That's going to be, again, during that high tide cycle Wednesday morning. We do not expect any coastal flooding with this. There will be elevated water levels and the potential for more coastal erosion. Previously flooded and low-lying areas may see a small increase in water levels and could be slow to drain. So graphically, we'll take a look at how this low is moving and the impacts that it is bringing to the areas focused on the west coast of the state, understanding that there will be other areas that could see quite high winds. So Tuesday afternoon, this low is just to the south of the central Aleutian Islands, bringing stronger winds just to the east of the eastern Aleutian Islands. As we step forward into Tuesday night, this storm is moving closer towards the eastern Aleutian Islands, and we start to see that frontal system move into the southwest coastline, some of the stronger winds starting to make their way in and transition those winds over to an easterly direction. Wednesday morning, more of those winds are going to start to make it into southwest Alaska, where the low pressure center is just to the east of the eastern Aleutian Islands, and we start to see those winds getting closer towards that 35 to 45 mile per hour range. Wednesday afternoon, the low is now south of the Alaska Peninsula as it continues its track to the east, bringing stronger winds to the Gulf of Alaska and continued easterly flow to the west coast of the state. Then on Thursday morning, that low has now moved into the Gulf of Alaska near Kodiak Island, and we're starting to see winds transition to lighter and more northerly along the west coast. Thursday afternoon, this storm center has now moved into the northern portions of the Gulf of Alaska, close to Prince William Sound, and starting to bring more lighter westerly winds to the southwest coastline. Though there is one more storm that we do want to talk about that is potentially moving into the Aleutian Islands area and taking a similar track to the one we just discussed, an easterly track more along the Aleutian Islands towards the Gulf of Alaska area. Still a lot of uncertainty with where this low will actually move and the impacts that it will provide. So we're kind of looking more broad picture at some of the areas where we could see impacts. These are starting on the 18th, Saturday, and we expect that to go through the weekend. There's going to be areas with heavy rainfall expected for the Aleutian Islands and Alaska Peninsula. There's going to be some areas of high wind potential that are going to extend from the Bristol Bay area through south central Alaska, and some heavy precipitation areas starting on Sunday for areas around Kodiak Island through some of the south central locations. Again, these are broadly suggested and broader areas because we do not have really dialed in where this low pressure system will exactly move, but we do have fairly high confidence that it will be a stronger system, bringing in the potential for some other areas of strong winds. Of note, we don't have any of these impacts listed for southwest Alaska from the Kuskokwim Delta area north, so we're at this time not expecting any additional major impacts to areas that were affected by Halong. For Alaska Weather, I'm David Kramer. Thanks for watching.